Hello, Dr. Kenneth Krieger here, and I'm pleased to be able to give this information on Dr. Wenker's video presentations. And this one, as you can see, is on what is sequential spinal balancing. These are the 7 oils that are used in this technique: oregano, marjoram, thyme, peppermint, lemongrass, clary sage, and myrtle. And I'll show you why. Let's go next. Okay. I discovered that there are really 4 zones that the spine is in when there's misalignment and curvature. And I work at the correction and balancing in specific zones. So let's look at zone 1 first. That's what's up here. Zone 1 is on the inside of the curve. And remember what that's called? It's called the concavity. Here is the concavity. Here is the concavity. 2 different spines. One is in the thoracic region, one is in the lumbar region. 7 vertebrae in the neck are cervicals, 12 middle back vertebrae are called thoracic, and the last 5 are called lumbars. So the concavity has to be worked on in this order, in this sequence. First, it's called the hot oils. I discovered in the research is you cannot use heat on the outside of a curve. It needs different oils and different application. So when we have the inside of a curve, this is how they're layered. Oregano first, then marjoram, then thyme. And they have to be layered. Once you put the oil on, before you put the next oil, you get in and work down from superior to inferior only on this side. Only on this side. Only on this side. Okay, next. Here we see a spine. This is the concavity. Along the inside or on the side of the spine is where the oils are placed. In order: oregano, marjoram, and thyme. Working from superior, you put oregano on first, work it in. Then you put marjoram, work it in. Then you put the thyme and work it in. Once you've applied the oils on the concave side, have them in order, you've driven them in, this is the newest portion of my research on treating scoliosis and spinal imbalances. This is called an eFit light pen. And the eFit light pen is new to America. This was the first one in the US, by the way. And what it does is it uses far infrared technology, which is different than infrared. It stands for Efficiency Enhancement Field Induction Technology. Now, what in the world does that mean? It means that the amount of the ability of efficiency in the body is enhanced by using far infrared. What this does is it immediately opens up the capillaries. Capillaries being open will move the oils deeper. And that's what we want. But only on the heated oil side. That's where this pen is used. And I'm turning this one on and you can see that it does have a flashing red light. But that is far infrared, not infrared itself. You work the application to at least 4 points and use it about 10 seconds on each point. So on a spine that has a concavity, 4 points, 10 seconds each, 40 seconds, you move to the next one. Okay, next slide. Zone 2. This is on the convex side. That's the outside of a curve. And you notice they're layered in order. Females are different than males. It's absolutely necessary that we use the hormonal effect to help with female spinal balance. So on one is on the thoracic spine, as one is on the lumbar spine. You start in females, peppermint first, drop it on the spine, drive it in, then lemongrass on the spot, drive it in, and then clary sage. Clary sage is the hormonal component. On males, peppermint, lemongrass in that order, but on males, it's myrtle. Again, on the convex side, inferior to superior. One oil, drive it in. Next oil, drive it in. Layer the third oil, drive it in. No light pen on this portion of a curve. Okay, next we'll see zone 2. This shows you an x-ray. This is a convexity. And again, females, peppermint, lemongrass, clary sage. Males, peppermint, lemongrass, myrtle. Okay, next. Zone 3. This is for a person. This is after you have done concavity or convexity. This is for a person who has too much curve in their lower back. Remember, I talked about having too much curve. As you're looking up to the Lord, it's called the lordosis. And on zone 3, these are cooling oils again. Same oils that we just talked about on a convexity. Peppermint, lemongrass, females, clary sage, males, myrtle. And it's placed on each side of the spine, driven from superior to inferior, from top to bottom. Each time you put one oil on, you drive it in, you push it in, massage it in, if you will, and then the next oil and next oil. And that's why they have to be done in sequence. Next, zone 4. Oh, zone 3. This is also for forward head syndrome. This means that the person has too much curve in here, but the curve is in the wrong place. If the curve is backwards, you don't use these oils. You use the oils for concavity, for kyphosis. So males, again, we're using superior to inferior. You put this on both sides of the spine. Peppermint, lemongrass, sage. And you can see how it's done. Okay, next slide. Zone 4 is if you have a kyphotic spine. This means that if the woman is like this, or the neck curve is backwards, this is where you use oregano, marjoram, and thyme. Once you've done that, once you place the oils, then you drive them in even deeper with the light pen. On both sides, in this case, we want to use 4 positions and drive the oils because these need heat. Okay, next. Warming heating oils. Remember, this is a kyphotic curve in the neck. If it was too much curve, it'd be a lordotic curve. And you work the oils in, inferior to superior, and then you drive them with the pen. 4 different positions, and make sure that you do it on both sides of the spine. Okay, next. This is going to show you the progressive difference, the positional degeneration. Again, I showed you this when we don't have the right amount of curve. This is what happened to this 44-year-old female. You see that the disc is beginning to change. This is what happens 12 years later when she was 56 years old. Look what happened because nothing was done. You don't see that here. This is so important that this is balanced out in each person. Okay, next. You see all of these different things on the table. This is called body blocking. You must do this after you apply the oils. And we've got all these different appliances that I'm going to give you a little bit of an idea. Okay, next. Okay, this is Lynn as an example. This is my wife, Lynn. If a person does not have enough curve in the neck, after you apply the oils to the neck or the cervical spine, then you put the person in this position. And you can see the position that she's in. Her head is hanging off the end of the table. You notice that the table is lower on this end than it is on the foot end. The reason why is even when all the oils are placed, I found even in all techniques, no matter what you use, raindrop, whatever, that you want the tractioning on the spine of gravity, even this limited amount, because it emphasizes correction. You can use a bag that has water in it for weight. Again, this should be monitored by a healthcare professional. Okay, next. How would you block this person and what type of exercises would you use? I'm just throwing this in because this is more of the advanced portion of my technique, along with all the oil applications. It's impossible to teach all of this in one try, but what we're going to, in this short amount of time, what we're going to do with this person, it should be on the next one, we would put one of these appliances underneath the middle back, and because this person had the emphasis in this direction. We were going to have it more on that side of the spine so that we take some of the rotation out. And it allows for the upper thoracic spine to go in the opposite or mirror image. And that's what we want after the oils are placed. Okay, next. Okay, lordosis means there's too much curve. This is the lower back, looking, the person's facing this direction. Layered from superior to inferior, peppermint, lemongrass, females, clary sage, males, myrtle. This is the lordotic spine. Okay, next. If Lynn was the person on the last slide that showed the emphasized or too much curve, that's why we have this wedge. We put the wedge underneath her upper back and her middle back and have her head up so that it flattens the curve. This is after the oils and the pen are used. This is going to put her in mirror image, the opposite position that she was when she was standing. Okay, next. During exercise, when you have this type of spine, you always flex your abdominals when you do your exercises to get up and down. You flex your abdominals, it helps limit the lumbar curve. I just thought I'd throw that in to show you that there are exercises that are necessary in changing the imbalance in the spine. Okay, next. Flatten the lower back. Obviously, you can use the ball or you can use a chair. I believe that on the next one I have a person in a chair. You can see they're in a chair or on a bench, and this portion of it, you're totally relaxed. There's a method called Egoscue for lower back problems, and one of the parts of the technique is to lay in this position, let the back flatten out. Instead of having this curve, let the back flatten out while you're laying down, and it will open up all of the nerve root openings in the lower spine. And relax, lay there. I've done this for my lower back. There are times I've laid 45 minutes in order to help reduce the irritability in the back. Okay, next. When you do this, you do not cross your legs. You make sure that you're laying flat with your arms in this position. And you notice in this picture, we have the neck roll. And the reason why is this man, forward head syndrome, so we want to just do this at the same time. Get that curve back in the neck. Okay, next. Now, in this curve, we see that this is the concavity. Looking at this person from the back, we want to make sure that we work the oils in. The concave side, you know the specific oils. The convex side, you know the specific oils. Because this is the concavity, we want to force this spine in this direction. So lay her on her side, put her on a hard roll. Now this was very uncomfortable for her. This is hard. Sometimes you have to use a very flexible roll or even this small of a roll. And the reason why is having it comfortable for the person that you're looking at and you're applying the oils to. Those would be the 4 points. Once you put the oils on, once you've driven the oils in those 4 points on the concave side, then you put the person in this position and try to leave them there for about 15 minutes, if they can stand it. Sometimes it's so overtly different because we're actually making the spine go back into its opposite position that it's not. They may only last 2 or 3 minutes the first time. But as you go and do these applications, they can last longer. Okay, next. All right. Now, this spine, much different. I showed you this spine earlier. Double compensating scoliosis. One compensates for the other to try to keep the head level. This is the left-hand side. This is the convexity, concavity. We choose on this spine to force this portion of the spine this direction, this portion of the spine this direction. Automatically this portion of the spine will work opposite of that. So you can see how we have the roll underneath here and we have the wedge underneath here, forcing the spine in the opposite direction. This is once the oils are applied in sequence on the concavity and the convexity. The pen is used only on the concavities. and then they're put in this position. Try to stay there for 15 minutes. Because Lynn didn't have this type of spine, this was really uncomfortable for her. So I use this hard roll with her, but you could use the soft roll to begin with. And you notice the wedge is making the pelvis go up. Table is lower. We want the extension of gravity to help while she's on the table. Next. What is this pen? It stands for Efficiency Enhancement Field Induction Technology. We'll go to the next one. I'd said that it's far infrared. This pen allows for quantum effects on target items. This can enhance the efficiency of many different things. This targeting through far infrared creates molecular vibration. Molecular vibration allows the molecules to line up proportionately. They ultimately achieve the goal of improving efficiency. We open up a capillary, it's going to improve efficiency. Okay, next. The visual spectrum of this quantum field is 4 to 20 microns. This is why I can take this pen. You cannot do this with infrared. Please do not. With this pen, I can use it directly in my eyes. And we've had many individuals who had floaters reduced, gone. My mother is going to be 100 in July. She has macular. We enhanced the movement of the molecular portion of the macula, used it in both of her eyes for about 10 minutes. And prior to this, she could only see body shapes. Then she could pick out the eyelashes on my eyes. Didn't last because you cannot correct or reverse macular, but you can enhance. You say, well, I'll just use heat to drive the oils. Well, there are certain portions of the spine you don't want to use heat. You want to create the body's ability to create its own application to pull the oils where we want them. Okay, next. Now we're going to go show you at a microscope exactly what it's like to have the opening up of the capillary and the enhancement of capillary flow. So we'll take a short break and we'll do that next. Christina's our ring finger underneath the microscope, and you can see the end of the capillaries. And we use the light pen, and as soon as I apply the light pen, you'll begin to see the pink appearance all through. There it goes. And it'll be pulsing with her heartbeat. And this opens up these capillaries immediately and allows for better blood flow. There they go. You can see how they open up. And what this is going to prove is that far infrared is going to allow, is going to allow for the improved absorption of transdermal medications. And you can see how they're getting darker and darker red as I apply, becoming more pink. So this will drive the essential oils and allow for better absorption. We get the oils to the bacteria and to the viruses in the spinal ganglia, and that is the key element. I'm going to go back to the other slides and finish up with a few more, and we'll be right back. Okay, finishing up, again, I want to emphasize it's an impossibility for me to give you an 8-hour seminar in a 45 or 50-minute time frame. So when we look at the spine, there's 24 freely movable vertebrae. Everyone is different. Everyone is unique, and when you apply spinal balance, everyone should have a specific application for their spine. So I've given you an example here. We have these two spines, and if you notice, they're both females. We have this, you young lady on the left, she's in her mid-teens, and I put a dot along her spine. And you can see how her left shoulder is higher than the right, her right hip is higher than the left. And this spine must have specific oils used in specific ways in order to balance it, in opposition to this spine, which is going in a much different pattern. The other thing I want to emphasize is that when a person does application, that the application must be in order, it must be used with the blocking technique, and it must be used heat on concavities and cold or cool oils on convexities. That is an absolute necessity. If it's not done, they're not going to balance properly. Now, you can improve a spine just by laying a person on a table, flat on their stomach, and let them lay there for 45 minutes. You can have the spine marked like this. They can stand up and their spine will look like it's improved because the gravitational stress has been taken away for 45 minutes. But as they stand, they'll return to this position. So don't let anyone fool you saying, after you get up off a table after some application, and they say, oh, I see your spine straighter. Let's see what happens the next day. That's the key element. So make sure that you understand that these two spines have to have different applications of different oils and different blocking techniques. Okay, on the next spine, next slide, do you want to have this happen in your life where you have a surgical intervention when it comes to your spine? I don't. We know that 50% of all lower back disc surgeries fail within the first year. Why is that? Why do 50% of the other 50% fail within the next 5? This is what it looks like when you get into the spine to have a torsion release or a shift of the twist in the spine or a severe scoliosis. I don't know about you, but this looks like it's pretty severe. Okay, next. If you choose to have a sequential spinal balancing seminar scheduled, call me, 602-558-0333. You can email me, drkennethkrieger@gmail.com. I can give you an idea of what it would cost and how we would accomplish it. And if you would want to help me out, that would be fantastic. In order to get an eFit light pen, call me again at 602-558-0333. I'm the exclusive distributor and sales representative for the United States. You can't get them anywhere else except through me. If you try to get one online somewhere, what you're going to get is a copy, and they're probably made in China. The eFit light pen that I use was made in Japan because their electronics are much better. Their quality is much, much more over Chinese quality, and that's why Nick Wang, who is the founder of the company, had them made in Japan, not in China. Don't be fooled. This eFit light pen is patented in the US, in Japan, in China, in Southeast Asia, and in Europe, and no other light pen like this, far infrared, has a patent where we do. So if you have questions about it, don't hesitate to call me or email me. My email address again for SSB or any questions is drkennethkrieger@gmail.com. When it comes to the LightFit pen, that helps me keep things in order. It's effitamerica@protonmail.com. It's been a pleasure being able to give you this introduction to sequential spinal balancing. Again, I tried to get 8 hours of information toned down into this short presentation in comparison. Have any questions, let me know. Dr. Winker, thank you for letting me be part of this. And all of you out there who know me, who I haven't seen in a while, God bless you, and be fit. And remember, movement is life, life is movement.